Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague. With my co-host is the man who was smart enough to just never get a Twitter so we can get canceled for anything, Noah Bailey.
Oh gosh.
So we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We have about 2 weeks of stuff to talk about, but we're going to start with something that happened late last night. So we don't generally like to get into politics on this channel, but it might be unavoidable. We'll see where it goes. So late last night, it was confirmed that Gina Carano has officially been fired from Lucasfilm. She will not be playing Cara Dune anymore in Mandalorian season 3.
Wait, seriously?
Yes. What?
All right. Guess any sorry.
No. What are your thoughts on that? No,
no comment. No comment.
Yeah. So essentially, the reason she was fired was she's just said a lot of stuff on Twitter, a lot of, we'll say, objectionable stuff on Twitter. I don't know how much you want to get into it exactly. Do you know, like,
I know, I kind of know the idea I see about it. Not that I agree with what was said or anything. It's just kind of like, dang, this is why the internet is not good.
And like,
don't say things on the internet ever.
Let me put it this way. I don't necessarily feel bad for her, because here's why. Something similar happened a couple of years ago with James Gunn. James Gunn was, fired from Guardians 3 by Disney for saying stuff on Twitter, over 10 years prior. But he came out publicly and apologized. He, said, like, I haven't said stuff like that in a while. Like, I doing everything I can, to respect people now. Like, I'm sorry. And then a couple of months later, he got, rehired, and everyone just kind of forgot about it and moved on. It's one thing to do that, like, acknowledge that what you said or what you did, even if you don't necessarily agree with what's happening, you can at least be like, just not say anything and be more correct. Like, this is one of the scenarios where if Gina had just stopped talking, probably she would still be with on Mandalorian season 3. But because she kept going, like, yeah. I don't want to get into any specifics, but like, let's just for just actually, well, one specific example. She retweeted some stuff that was we'll say, the US equivalent to Anakin storming the Jedi Temple with stormtroopers.
I looked it up. I know where we're
okay, cool. So like, that's just one of the things that she did, and then kept going. And like, she's been, anti-mask this whole time, which, like, I don't
like, no one enjoys wearing a mask. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like it's my favorite. I think I don't like to wear one, but it's the law of the land, and like, is it really that hard? Like,
I don't know.
Okay, just try to make it fun. It's like wearing, it's kind of like wearing pants. It's like, if I didn't have to wear pants all the time, would I? I mean, okay, that's a bad example. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway,
I get, like, you get what you're saying though. Like,
it's like it's just how it is. Like, do what we can do. But yeah, that's rough.
And like, yeah, she, like, something. I'm definitely not going to get into this one specifically, but she posted something kind of even further than that yesterday that kind of put Disney over the line and was like, yeah, we can't work with you anymore. And like, that sucks. But like, when you're working with a company like Disney, like I said, from previous examples, like with James Gunn, what can be done, like, if they see that you've said stuff on Twitter. Like, once she got that job, she should have just stopped talking. Not even
Yeah.
saying to change her mind or change who she is. Just don't say anything. You would have been more correct, in my opinion, right?
And that's kind of the thing. It's like, it's not that you can't say whatever you want. It's more so what you say may or may not have consequences. Like, you're not going to get put in jail for saying something,
Mm,
but, especially if you're a famous person in a very famous, show or movie or whatever, what you say may or may not have consequences for that. So it's
yeah.
important to kind of keep that in mind because, athletes or whoever in the public light,
Hmm.
it's kind of like, I guess you're held to a different standard in terms of like what you say needs to be, I guess, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be. I'm not saying necessarily anything is like wrong or right and freedom of speech and all that. I get that, but at the same time, you can't like what you say can affect what can happen to
Yes.
your career. Like if let's say I work at Subway
Mm,
and I publicly say, you know what, I think the restaurant business is a scam and terrible and no one should ever buy it. Like Subway would probably fire me, right?
yes.
It's like, and it's not that what I said is necessarily, not my opinion or something, or I don't have the right to say I don't like sandwiches, but it's like,
Mm,
you're probably, like you, if you say something that your employer may or may not like, you probably will have consequences due to that. And that's just something people have to keep in mind of in general.
yeah. Like, if you're an employee of any business, let alone a multinational, multi-billion dollar company like Disney, you you as an employee of this business represent that business and everything you do. These businesses have investors and people like who, like, if they see you post something or say something that is, we'll say, objectionable, it would look bad on the business as a whole, just for having you as an employee. And it, like, up until recently, I've been very good. I generally very good about like splitting uh an actor, even a director, whatever, their personal life from their movies or characters. Usually very good about like splitting those two in my mind. Um but like, I guess it didn't help that like she wasn't my favorite character anyway. Like, she was fine, but like I never thought like, oh, Gina Carano as Cara Dune is like this essential character that needs to be in the show. Like, I don't know, I just never like, I never felt like her character was like the best part of the show, in my opinion. I don't know. Like,
I really liked her character. I thought it was
yeah,
cool that she was like, like I kind of like, it was kind of almost kind of like the whole, what we thought the whole Finn thing was going to be like ex
yeah,
stormtrooper kind of becomes a good guy. So
yeah,
it
and
was kind of like, I know she wasn't like a super central character, but she
mm,
came back in the necessary moments. I thought was cool. And like her
yeah,
intro episode was a good episode.
and it was cool that we learned that she used to live in Alderaan before that blew up. Like, that's a
Right.
cool character, backstory and all. But like,
Did you lose anybody? My whole planet blew up. What do you think?
yeah,
Like,
but like, I don't, essentially what I'm getting at is like, what, when she was on screen, like, I didn't like think she was bad, I didn't think she was great. I thought she was, like, it was the character that, like, when she was shooting stuff, when she was punching guys, like, great. But it's not like, if she's not in the next season, I'll personally feel bad, and I won't personally like feel like I'm missing something, especially since we will have the other Mandalorians, other new characters, potentially other Jedi around. Like, there'll be other stuff happening where it's like, you might, not really care as much after, if she doesn't show up. I don't know.
yeah, and I mean, like, I'm not saying, yeah, it's like they could easily. There's a lot of characters. The show kind of grew in characters very quickly, especially in the second season. So like, they'll fill the hole.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, I guess, it's just unfortunate because it's like, oh, I did like this character, and it
Yeah.
was like a season one OG in a room full of season two newbies. But
Mm. It was it was just very funny seeing all these people who, the Star Wars fandom is kind of the worst fandom. Like, just like,
I wouldn't say the worst.
It's up there.
It's up there.
Like all these people back when season 1 of Mandalorian happened, and the episode that introduced Cara Dune, all these people on YouTube made hour-long videos discussing how Star Wars has gone full SJW again. They're even ruining Mandalorian for having a woman in Star Wars. Literally, the thumbnails of these videos from year and a half ago were like Mando's gone full SJW with Cara Dune's face on it.
Has a female character that's like
not even the main character
exists. Yeah, like she was in like 2 episodes in the first season.
They tried to say that episode was the worst of the season just because
it was not the worst episode. That was I wasn't the best episode, but it was definitely not the worst episode. That was a pretty solid episode.
Come on, it's so funny seeing those people, literally the same people, saying that the show is going full SJW because she exists, and then those same people are now defending her actions, like saying she did nothing wrong per se. Like it just, I don't want to read too much into it, but like it's just funny seeing how these people just turn on a dime when something seems to fit their narrative. I don't know. It's I don't want to get too political, but it's just something.
People have a tendency to have people tendencies. Put it that way.
Yeah. So maybe they'll recast. Maybe they'll just have a new character that's similar to hers. Like
it's a pretty big galaxy. I feel like we don't need to recast. I feel like we just get a new character.
Yeah, like it wouldn't necessarily be out of the question for a show like this to read, because like especially since it is a show, like if they get someone who looks kind of similar, I don't think enough people would care.
They could just make her wear a helmet.
Yeah.
No, that would not work.
But
honestly though, I mean, the way it's set up, I mean, she's supposed to be like a marshal or something anyway, so she could just be doing marshal stuff somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they don't even have to like kill her off, just not around.
Yeah, like like I said, the other Mandalorian people are also going to be probably pretty big focus of next season. And it's probably won't
Plus we got Boba Fett stuff first anyway, so by the time that's over, they can set up who knows what.
Yeah. Although again, it was hilarious watching all these people complaining about this being, cancel culture. These people saying cancel culture is struck again, using the hashtag cancel Disney Plus or cancel the Mandalorian. Like you're complaining about cancel culture. You're complaining about this actor getting consequences for her actions. Whether you agree with what she said or not, it doesn't matter. Disney, her employer, still found them objectionable. That is their right as a company to fire you. You are then saying this cancel culture needs to be fought with more cancel culture. Okay. Sure.
If you cancel the canceling of the cancelers, then that gets canceled, then it all works out. Or something. I don't even know what I just said. I got confused while saying it, so I have no idea.
Makes not much sense to anything else. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do going forward. We'll see, I guess. Like we'll see. Moving away from that to a different show with the lead female character. So Elizabeth Olsen in a recent interview has said that, or at least hinted that the WandaVision will have a Luke Skywalker level cameo in it somewhere. You've caught up with the most recent episode, right?
Yeah.
I spoilers.
No,
who cares?
That wasn't it though. But that wasn't it though.
That was not it.
No.
No. That felt.
It was a good one, but
that felt more like the Ahsoka of this show, because
yeah.
Do we spoil it? I mean,
what?
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about
Spoilers, if you haven't caught up with the episode of the Mandalorian, the episode of WandaVision where, I'm just going to say it, so turn it off now, Pietro shows up, but not Pietro from the MCU, Pietro from the X-Men movies, which I'm not sure how they're going to explain that, but I'm sure they'll figure something out. maybe he's a younger version of him, and they'll just go with that. Or I don't know. But
I don't know. But yeah, like that. It's literally. I think this is literally identical to Ahsoka in The Mandalorian because
kind of similar, yeah.
It's something that, like, if you're just kind of thinking about it, logically makes sense. But also, Evan Peters had been cast as someone in WandaVision since like last June.
Yeah, so you kind of knew it was coming.
Yeah, like I remember reporting on it in the podcast. So like same with Rosario Dawson, like we knew it was coming. So it wasn't the biggest surprise. It was still really, really cool to actually see it.
Yes. And you didn't know when it was coming either. So like when it showed up, I was still surprised.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be.
Which that episode was crazy. Just that I loved that episode.
All the episode, like every episode, consistently was like, what is happening on a higher level than the last one? It's crazy.
Oh my goodness! Oh, I love this show so much. Love it.
There's a new one tomorrow. Let's go
tomorrow. Oh my goodness! Tomorrow's gonna be the Halloween special. Just it's gonna be great. Anyway, like, like this is obviously. Like I said, yeah, it's probably not the Luke Skywalker tier cameo because there was no leaks about Luke. Mark Campbell said nothing. He was never cast in The Mandalorian. No idea. Who do you think is going to be?
Well, I've heard. Okay, so here's the thing. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing I've heard, everyone's been saying Magneto, which I've heard. Yeah. And I'm like, that would be crazy. Yeah. But I feel like you can't just like, I don't know, because like, are we just gonna make all? Because you can't just add Pietro and Magneto and not everyone else. So maybe it'll be the whole unit. I don't know, but like Magneto makes the most sense because it's like the other family member of note. But also, I feel like they've already kind of dipped in that pool just with Pietro. So maybe someone else from the MCU.
So I think in order to be a Luke Skywalker tier cameo, it can't just be Doctor Strange because Doctor Strange is absolutely showing up in the last episode of the show, like, or at least like after credit scene or something, because this is leading into
it's going to be connected, but it's not. I mean, Luke Skywalker came out of nowhere, is the Star Wars character.
He is Mr. Star Wars, like
yes. Okay, so to phrase the question, who is Mr. Marvel right now?
Well, I personally think there are three options.
Okay.
Either Wanda, either accidentally or intentionally, brings in Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Yeah.
Brings back Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Or my favorite fan theory I heard the other day, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm.
What? Wait. Why? How would that even work? He's not even the most recent Johnny Storm. If anything, it'd be Michael B.
Yeah, yes. Sure, there hasn't been a Fantastic Four movie in between now and 2008.
Just because they're bad doesn't mean you can ignore them. Oh my gosh. Not that it wasn't another MCU character, but I mean, okay, so here's my thing. The Johnny Storm, I don't see how that works. And why Johnny Storm specifically?
Because in that episode, in the most recent episode, we heard Monica saying that she was talking to an aerospace engineer that she knows. Very likely that is either Mr. or Miss Fantastic. And I don't think we'll actually get to know who that is in this season. I think it'll just kind of be a hint because they already had some other Fantastic Four references in the show already. So already like having some hints of Fantastic Four in there, and then having like we also already know that she can somehow bring in other people from other universes with the other dimension Pietro. If Chris Evans is up for it, why not let him take another crack at Johnny Storm?
Oh man, I feel like he's so like cemented as Cap though, especially in this universe still. But I mean, I guess it's possible.
I
I don't
mean,
know. I don't think I
actually,
would
now
love
think
that.
about it. Either way, if they used either Mr. or sorry, what's his name? Human Torch, it would be an already established MCU character. It'll
Exactly.
be either him or Killmonger.
Right. But I
But
feel like, I mean, Killmonger would have a better chance in terms of like, not that I'm saying his um Johnny Storm was better or anything, but it's like, I mean, like Killmonger and Wanda never met or anything
yeah,
in terms of, like, so it wouldn't feel as weird. Because like I feel like you couldn't have Johnny Storm as Chris Evans and like not like acknowledge that this is literally Captain America, but not. You know what I'm saying? Like I know like they're good actors, but I'm like, come on, you gotta like. I feel
well,
like that
the
kind of
next
cheapens
movie is
it.
called The Multiverse of Madness.
I
Like
know,
it
but that
could
would be
be.
kind of cheap. I'm not gonna lie. Like I would feel kind of like really. It's like when you have a play and you don't have enough people to play all the characters, so you have
Yeah,
someone just wear a wig and they're a completely different character. And
but
it's kind
like
of
just
like
imagine
really.
how cool it would be to see, on like small screen, I guess, like seeing in the last episode, you know, Chris Evans walks up and like even like maybe like plays a bit of the Captain America theme as he's walking up, and then like he catches on fire and flies into battle. Like how cool would that be?
That would be epic. But oh,
Like
I
Wanda
feel
would think
like,
like, oh, Captain America is here to save the day. Oh, it's not actually him. Like, but that would just, oh, I would, yeah.
but that wouldn't. I mean, that would be cool. But would that really feel Luke Skywalker esque? Because Luke, like, you didn't need like you know who Luke Skywalker was the second he came in the room. It's
Yeah.
not like this is one of those. I feel like this is one of those things that anyone who has watched, anyone who likes superheroes would just lose their mind over.
Yeah.
Like
Which
that
is
would be cool, but
another
that
reason.
wouldn't be like lose your mind cool.
That's another reason why it absolutely is not Evan Peters as Quicksilver,
No,
because my brother, he's been following the Marvel movies pretty closely, but he hasn't seen any of the recent X-Men movies. He didn't realize that was that Quicksilver.
exactly, and
So
they
like,
kind of know. They kind of know because again, the X Men movies, the recent X Men movies have not done as well, and they know that,
yeah.
which is why they have the property. They're getting the properties
Uh-huh.
more, but like they kind of like, yeah, if it was this level, I mean, they
Mm,
know this is gonna make people lose their mind because
yeah.
I mean, this Luke Skywalker thing just happened. I mean, this was a couple months ago, and
Mm,
everyone knew this is gonna make fans start drooling and losing their minds. We're gonna be talking about this forever, and as we will. But
mm-hmm.
like, this is like, see, which is why I feel like it has to be one of the like, it has to be a character that like is universally adored
Yeah.
by everyone.
But I feel it can't be Robert Downey Jr. because I think for it would be weird to see Iron Man come back into the MCU, being essentially the very next episode after the epilogue that had, the world kind of, you know, dealing with his death. I
Mm-hmm.
know it was supposed to be Black Widow in between there, but like the very next thing on a TV show on Disney Plus, it would be a little weird for that to be his big reintroduction if he does come back at all. Um, I think Michael Fassbender uh, as Magneto would have a very similar effect to Pietro. Like
Yeah.
it would be a big deal to people who know, but like if you
For
haven't
those
seen
who
all of
don't
the X-Men,
know,
who would care?
yeah, which I still don't love how they like. I understand like people are getting older, but I don't love how they like made them like prequels. I guess, but
Essentially, every single X-Men movie had a different continuity. Like none of them well fit.
yeah, and it was just confusing, hard to follow, and like I know like but like Days of Future Past, that's like the point. But like the other ones, it kind of just felt like they were just doing it for no reason.
Apocalypse sucks. Apocalypse is a garbage movie. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't finished it. My mom was watching it one day. She's like, "No, what's going on?" I was like, "I could not tell you.
Like
I don't know."
I've only seen it the one time, but like as far as I haven't seen Dark Phoenix, but I have seen every other major X-Men movie. It's worse than X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like Wolverine, at least, or X-Men Origins at least has like a certain charm to it.
I
Like
had moments.
it feels like it knows it's bad and it goes like all in on the like kind of cheesy campiness of that. This feels like it was trying to be Also, Origins doesn't really feel like an X-Men movie. It just kind of feels like its own thing.
Yeah.
This really does feel like a studio, tried to make this movie with Oscar Isaac looking like that as Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And the story made absolutely no sense. The character, like, just, oh my goodness. Like, I remember just watching it being like, this is just like some of the worst action, some of the worst dialogue, like the worst editing of a superhero movie I've ever seen. It was dumb. But, where was it going with that?
That the X-Men movies don't have the same level of like,
yes,
this is crazy, because like
yes.
it would, and like you say, it wouldn't be the same. That's why I think if there was any X-Men character, it would have to be Hugh Jackman, because like Hugh Jackman is like the constant in every X-Men movie that he's been in.
Although, would he want to come back after Logan?
It's true, but if he makes a cameo, that doesn't necessarily imply that he's in the MCU now, does it?
Not necessarily.
Right.
And like,
I'm trying to think, who else is in this universe that could be that epic?
Theoretically, it could be like Captain Marvel or somebody like that.
No, but
that wouldn't be that would be like a Boba Fett. Like, yeah, they're in this universe. Like, yeah, just like one of the main characters. So like, it would make sense for a show with Monica as kind of like a secondary main character to be.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll although that would make a lot of sense. Captain Marvel showed up.
Yeah, like it would make sense, but she's not a Luke Skywalker tier.
Yeah, I'm saying Luke Skywalker is like
Tobey Maguire. Like, if they introduced Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in this, maybe.
No,
that's been rumored for a while. There wasn't even a rumor of Luke Skywalker at all.
Wait, why? But why would Tobey Maguire be in this? If anything, he's going to be in the Spider-Man 3, which at this point we still have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah,
but no, there's no way he'd be. There's no relevance for him in this. This isn't. I mean, well, it is a New
something
Jersey,
insane is going to happen in those last 2 episodes. Like,
yes.
Like, all the people who complain that this show isn't Marvel-y enough, like, A, that's not the point, but B, it's going to get there. Like, the last 2 episodes are absolutely going to be full on.
Yeah, and like this one doesn't have a ton of action, but this isn't about fighting. This is about figuring out it's like a mystery. It's kind of like, it has like kind of like the like Gravity Falls kind of like, there's something brewing, but also I'm not sure what it is. I got to keep watching to find out what it is. But it's like,
I adore that.
And it's well written. There's that one creepy moment in every episode where the music stops playing and something crazy happens. You're like, what? And then like,
I love when she started like rolling the credits on WandaVision as they were talking. It's like, you can't control me, Wanda. Like, can't I? And just start rolling the credits.
Yes.
Like, no, we're not doing this.
Yes. Or how like she'll just be doing stuff and then she'll just be like even the like first episode with like the boss's wife was just kind of like stop it, and like it got so like dark out of nowhere, and then it's like, okay, great guys, it was a lovely day. Like, what the heck was that? Like,
or the fact that Agnes totally killed that dog.
Oh, absolutely.
100% Agnes killed that dog.
Agnes did a lot of things behind the scenes, which is, I'm also really want to go into that too, because I know, we all know she's in on it. So we got to figure out
what's going on. Like, she literally asked Wanda, do you want me to do another take? You want me to try that again?
Yeah, that was so weird. Oh my goodness. Like, that was so weird, because it was like a show. I was like, is this like gag reels? What is happening? Like,
it felt like a blooper left in, but like that was intentional. Like,
yes. And like, I love how like they break character, like she broke character, like stopped, music stopped, lighting changed, like everything looked so different. I was like, dude, this is so weird. Like, what's going on here? Man. Gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hyped.
Yeah, like regardless of who it is, like it's probably someone we haven't even said yet, but like regardless of who it is, like it's gonna this show is gonna be great. It's already great. It's only gonna get greater.
There you go.
More great.
Greater.
Yeah, greater.
Greater is correct.
Like,
But yeah, dude, I'm excited. But it's weird because like I don't want to get so hyped for like this crazy, and then it's just like Captain Marvel. I'm like, oh,
Okay.
like you know, like I don't want to get like because like and I kind of don't like being told this because like you know now I'm expecting it. If I wasn't expecting it and something crazy happened,
Yeah.
I would lose it.
Like
Like the Luke
if they
Skywalker thing.
told you there's gonna be in the Mandalorian season 2, they told you there's wait till the last episode, there's gonna be something special at the end. And then even though the Luke Skywalker reveal was great, you're kind of expecting it, like being told that a Luke, and like it probably just Elizabeth Olsen just like being like knowing about it and being excited, and like
It just
the
came out.
interview, just like I think the interviewer asked her like, is there anything about the show that you can tell us, like and then she said something about Luke Skywalker tier cameo. I don't, well, like she wouldn't say it like that if it was just Captain Marvel, right?
Exactly. Like it would have to be unless Captain Marvel shows up, beats up a whole bunch of people, and then walks out. But like,
Yeah, well, that'd be cool, but like you kind of expect that because Monica clearly has an attachment.
yeah, but still, I don't know. Like, because like you said, like because that Luke Skywalker thing was out of nowhere. I didn't even like. I saw the X-wing and was still like, "What's one X-wing?" Like I was like, until he got out, I was like, "Oh,
I wish I wasn't spoiled on that beforehand.
Dude, I am so sorry.
Still cool.
Like that sucks.
Like I wasn't even spoiled on the actual. Like I didn't even see any of it beforehand. I literally just saw someone on Twitter be like, Star Wars is really just one character forever, isn't it? I'm like, oh, it's probably Luke Skywalker. Like, I know who that is. Like,
yeah, you're right. Like context, you like we know Star Wars well enough that was either gonna be him or like Darth Vader or something. Like,
yeah,
that's
whatever.
But it was still worth it. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, like luckily I have been able to like every single day. There's one guy I follow on Twitter who's huge into Marvel. He like every single Friday he's like, do yourself a favor, stay off Twitter. Like, okay, thank you. It's like, if you care about WandaVision at all, stay off Twitter. It's like, will do.
Yeah. I saw one thing where it was like, yo, WandaVision, that last episode. That's all I'm gonna say. And I was like, I wonder what happened. I was like, and that was the episode where they like explained like Monica's backstory or whatever, and like how like, she just kind of like went in there, and they all freaked out, like, oh my gosh, like
and
we lost an agent.
Seeing dead Vision like that.
Bro, yes. That was so creepy. Like just and like the crack in his head is still there. I was like, oh my gosh.
We found out later that like the head of sword guy was using Vision's body to like do something with. We're not sure what. Hopefully nothing evil. It's gonna be evil, but hopefully nothing too
right.
evil.
Like hopefully not, but like it will be, but hopefully
not like trying to like reverse engineer Ultron or anything like that.
Oh my gosh. Seriously? Like we need that problem again. Jeez. Like we don't have enough going on right now.
Like regardless of what happens, who shows up in the show, it's gonna be great.
I'm excited, and now I can't not watch it. Like as soon as I get up tomorrow, I'm gonna like, all right, WandaVision.
Like all the people that canceled Disney Plus supposedly because of what happened with Gina, you're lost. Like, sorry.
I don't know. I mean, Disney Plus is making it so like you can't cancel Disney Plus because like Mandalorian ends, boom, Marvel stuff starts going. Marvel stuff ends. Oh, guess what? More Marvel stuff starts going.
Falcon Winter Soldier, which leads right into that new trailer we got.
Yep.
Which it
is a trailer.
It's gonna be good. Like I don't even like. It feels cliche at this point to say, yeah, that new Marvel thing is gonna be good. Like that just feels implied.
But it's kind of true. Like it just feels like it is gonna be good, and like it usually is. I mean, since what 2015, 16, I'll say just to be sure. Like pretty much every Marvel thing's been at least good, if not.
I don't love Ant-Man and the Wasp, but it's not like awful.
Yeah, like it get like Ant-Man and the Wasp gets like a C+.
Yeah,
and that's like the worst grade they've got.
People pretend to despise Captain Marvel when it's like a decent movie. It's good, like it's enjoyable enough. Like
Yeah, it's like not like it's
It's
not
good.
that bad. You
It's
know what I'm
good.
saying? It's okay. Like it's fine. It's
It's
not
not the greatest.
no, it's not the
good.
greatest, but it has cool moments in it, and it does set up Captain Marvel, who I think is a cool character.
Yeah.
Not my favorite character, but I think she's got some cool stuff going on. I think
People
her
pretend
powers
to
are
hate.
awesome.
People pretend to hate Endgame because it's popular. It's good. It's very
Dang,
good.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, how, like, are people actually upset? Like, I don't understand. Like, these movies are not. Like, granted, Endgame was like 3 hours of fan service. I will say that.
But that's
But
fine.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, since when do we hate fan? We love fan service.
Yeah,
Like
we
we've
literally
always liked that. In every other movie, when there's fan service, people drool over it. But because there's a lot of it,
just got done discussing what fan service are they going to put into
yes,
WandaVision that rivals the fan service that was in the Mandalorian.
yes, because that's all we do. Because the best scene, everyone says the best scene in Rogue One is the most unnecessary scene in the entire movie.
No, we did not
but
need
it
to see
is
that.
like the best scene in the movie because it's so freaking fan service awesome. Because that's what we love. It's literally the whipped cream on the dessert we didn't even know we were gonna get,
Yes.
and it's great every time. Like, why do you care? And like, and I don't know. And like, don't get me wrong, I am one of those people who liked Infinity War more than Endgame, but that does not mean that I think Endgame is by any means not super awesome.
No, they're both great. I kind of in my head, I kind of see them both as the same movie, so like I can't really like.
Yeah, it's kind of just a long movie, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't love the 5-year gap. I feel like it could have just been the year, like the real gap in time between the movies and real life. But it is what it is.
Yeah. But how about Falcon on the Shoulder? Yeah, Falcon on the Shoulder.
Sorry.
No, that was my bad. Like, again, it's a good trailer. Like the suits look great. Their chemistry looks great. Like them being in that like couples therapy session, like great.
Yeah. And I gotta admit, dude, like so I said this a little bit last time we talked about it, but dude, I love Falcon's new suit.
Yes.
Like it looks like the wings looking exactly like the comic book wings looks awesome. Like I never thought they would make it work because it doesn't really make sense in like how it looks, but they kind of made it work and it looks really good. And yeah, the fighting looked good. There's more action in this trailer. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
There's that scene when they're like running and like a lot of shield throwing, which I feel like
makes
all
sense.
Right, we're gonna be doing this. It's gonna be fun, but it's like, yeah, this is gonna be awesome.
Like I love how until recently, the Falcon suit definitely had like that Marvel flair to it, where it's like it's similar to the comics, but like more militarized, which I think is fine. But now it literally looked like individual feathers that can like be like he's obviously not gonna like flap around like the actual Falcon, but they made it look as close to the comics as possible. Yet still looking very good. Like it.
Yeah, and it makes sense still. It doesn't just like, it's not, it's like with like Batman suit. It's like, it's not gonna be just cloth. I mean, logically that makes no sense. But it's not gonna be a tank suit either. Like,
and Sharon Carter's coming back and kicking butt like always. We got better look at Baron Zemo and what his exact plan is. Like, wearing the purple mask. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
There's one theory that Zemo specifically is wearing that purple mask to kind of like not like pay homage. What's the word I'm looking for? To kind of like be reminiscent of Thanos, because his thing is that he feels that like superheroes need to just not exist.
Right.
So wearing Thanos's mask, like wearing something that looks like Thanos, to carry that on. I think I don't know. It could be something
interesting. I mean, maybe we'll see. I don't know, but I did like I know some people didn't like Zemo because like, oh, he's not a real villain. I'm like, what? I mean, the movie's called Civil War. They're supposed to be fighting each other. That's the entire purpose.
Yeah.
But people will find anything to pick at. But yeah, I think it'll be interesting to flesh out his character a little more too. And yeah, I do like seeing Sharon Carter back also because she was a kind of a cool character. I do think it was a little weird with the whole Captain America thing with like.
I get it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I get it, bro. But like,
I mean, it's probably a thing of like Sharon probably grew up her entire life listening to Auntie Peggy, Aunt Peggy, just telling stories about Captain America, and then she finally gets to meet him, and he's like, "Oh, you're like I kind of like you, but now that I know that you're her niece, like, oh, that's perfect. Okay, let's do this. Like, I don't know. I feel like it,
I mean, I mean the boys were on board, so it's whatever. But yeah, it was nah.
As long as they don't do a thing where like she starts having a thing with one of them, I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't think you. Maybe Bucky. I don't know. I hope not.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Honestly, I don't think this is going to be one of those romantic subplot shows anyway. It seems because I mean these are shorter shows. They seem very to the point. There's going to be a lot of kicking and sword and shield throwing.
6 episodes, 50-ish minutes each one. Yeah, like I said, a lot of action, a lot of like espionage. Just
because these fight scenes look good. Like the train, not the train, but the two like trailers or whatever, and like they look legit. I'm hyped.
Yeah, and we also got at least a heavy rumor that War Machine is going to show up at some point as a cameo in
that would make sense. Yeah,
like even if it's not War Machine, even if it's just Rhodey just like coming in to do something. Like I think he still works for the Air Force, right? Like
I think so, or the government or something.
Yeah, like he still should be around, like especially since this show, at least most of the show, is going to focus heavily on the U.S. agent Captain America that like the government tries to create. Let me rephrase that. The guy called U.S. agent who the government tries to like force to become Captain America. It would make sense for Rhodey to be there being like, hey, my boy gave him the shield. Like I was there when he gave him the shield. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you making this new guy? Like, they're qualified.
Do you think anything with like, I know this is like kind of like Civil War stuff, but do you think anything from like the Accords is going to come back?
Thunderbolt Ross is absolutely still salty.
Yeah.
Like, because they're both like, because I mean obviously Winter Soldier, he's been a criminal since the 90s at least,
and they Falcon, both broke out of the raft, so I mean
so
like, do I not get anything from saving the world? Like
that kind of reminds me of that scene in WandaVision, the latest episode of the like head of sword guy going over everything that's like wrong with Wanda, and part of it was that she didn't sign the Discovery Accords and what's the name Woo just like kind of like snickered at that, like, no one, like, who cares?
Yeah, right. That's what I'm like, bro. We just like in that time we lost half the universe. Are you really talking about the protocols? Like, because it's been forever since Civil War. You kind of I like rewatched some of it the other day, but like, that was a long time ago.
5 years ago.
Very different. Like the biggest problem back then was we need to keep each other in check. Not half the universe is gone. Figure this out.
Yeah, so like I would like to think that Thunderbolt Ross would just kind of not care about the fact that Falcon and Winter Soldier were both technically fugitives, but like he absolutely does.
It's going to be a problem. It's never a easy smooth breeze. It's going to be a problem. But here we go.
So yeah, whether it's just Rhodey or whether he actually suits up as War Machine, that's going to be great. But he's still getting his own show, so even if he's not in it for a lot, we're still going to see him.
I kind of forgot. I kind of forget everyone who's getting all their shows.
Yeah,
but worth it.
Well, actually, speaking of new shows, apparently Ryan Coogler is making a Wakanda show.
Yeah, I heard about this.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm down with this. I think this is a good idea. Because again, as much as like not to like speak by any means speak ill of the dead, obviously, as much as everyone liked Black Panther, it's like it wasn't necessary. I don't think Chadwick Boseman was anyone's favorite character necessarily in the Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, Killmonger's such a good villain, or oh, I really like Shuri, oh, I really like, this, that, or that.
Or the other, like the girlfriend
character. The Dora Milaje or whatever. So it was like, everyone had their, so I think this is a good way of exploring this world, especially since we don't really know how Black Panther 2 is going to go.
Exactly.
So I think this is a great way. I think it was a great idea because I think the world of Wakanda in general is just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a great idea just to kind of keep that going.
Yeah. I think Black Panther 2 is still scheduled for 2022 or 3. Either 2 or 3. One of those movies, one of those years is stacked with like 10 movies.
Yeah. I think that's 2.
Okay, next year. That makes sense.
It is next year.
Yep.
Oof. I know it's February, but that still hit me.
We still need to get Black Widow somehow.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, there'll be, pretty solid number of superhero content between now and then, including the Snyder Cut. Moving away from Disney stuff, on to Warner Brothers stuff.
1 month away.
Yep.
Oh, man.
So we got a first look at the Joker. Have you seen the Joker gonna be the Snyder Cut?
I have.
He grew his hair out.
He did. He's been working
over
on
all the tattoos, so that's good.
Guess. Yeah. I mean, it looks interesting. It looks kind of weird, but I mean, it's the Joker, so you're not going to take points off for being necessarily weird. But
especially with Jared Leto's Joker, like he
exactly
looks better than he did before, but like
you knew what you were getting yourself into.
It's not. Yeah. So I have a whole segment we're probably going to get to later in this podcast about the nightmare sequence specifically, which is like the timeline this Joker is going to be in, with him, Slade, and Batman teaming up to do something in that timeline. I don't think the Joker is necessary for this Justice League movie, especially in the way they're doing it, but it will be at least interesting to see Ben Affleck and Jared Leto share screen time together as this Batman and Joker. It'll be at least be interesting to hear them communicate, see, especially since, we know that this Batman at least used to kill people, but left Joker alive. Are they going to explore that at all? Probably not, because, it's still a Zack Snyder movie. Like, I
don't get that. I still don't get that.
Like the fact that we know for a fact this Batman just mows down random goons like they're nothing. Like,
yes.
Not accidentally. He literally, like, he goes out of his way to shoot people sometimes.
His moral code is very much not really existent,
yes,
as it is normally.
And it's not just the nightmare sequence. His car has guns. He used other people's guns to shoot people. Like he
smacked that dude with he smacked that one dude with that like box or whatever. His blood spattered on the wall.
So that guy is dead, or at least like dead. In a coma. Yeah, like he was willing to kill people left and right. Yet the Joker, the man who killed her Robin and burned down Wayne Manor, all he did was punch his teeth in. That's it. That's all this man. All this Batman did was punch Joker's teeth in and send him to Arkham after he burned down his family home. Are you kidding me?
And killed the son. I mean, I don't even care as much about the home. He killed my son. Like, that's what I'm more concerned about. Like, and like, you have this memorial to him in your cave, but like, so you could just kill goons 5 ways to Sunday, but then the Joker's like, I don't. And that's kind of my thing with Batman killing people. That doesn't make sense. Like that, if Batman kills people, it makes no sense for the Joker to exist. Because that's one of his biggest, that's one of the biggest foils of Batman. He doesn't, his moral code is part of the reason he still has all these problems.
Yes.
But because there is no killing joke and death in the family and all the other terrible things the Joker's done if he just nerfs him off the first time.
So, like, I hope there's at least one comment somewhere in the Snyder Cut about that, about how, like, about, like, even about, like, Joker taunting him, being like, even though, the world is ending, even though, like, your moral code has been questioned time and time again, I'm still alive. Why? Like that type. I want that to be brought up at least somehow.
Yeah.
I'm going to, but I would really like it to.
Yeah, because like it doesn't make any sense because it's just like that. Why? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And I hope they reference it. They probably won't, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's it's just gonna be another probably like 30-minute sequence in this already 4-hour movie that isn't necessarily necessary because in a different timeline that
Yeah, and I mean, like,
that's not gonna happen because they're gonna stop Steppenwolf in this time. I don't know. Whatever.
yeah. Also, wow, Batman kills a lot of people. I kind of forget. I know that nightmare sequence. I'm like, I was watching. He like shot like 5 dudes in a
Just
row.
pull out a gun and just shoots.
Yeah,
people.
and I don't mean like someone else shot the gun and he happened to be while he was taking it. Like he took the gun, shot 3 dudes, and then hit someone else with a gun and shot someone else.
Or like on his way to the warehouse, there were cars that like with chain guns shooting at the bat plane. His bat plane then activated 2 rail guns that like spun around and just like mowed them down. Like
yeah,
and like yes, it was out of self-defense, but like Batman would just have burst like an EMP and shut down their guns or disable them somehow. But no,
batarangs or anything else that Batman has used over the years except actually shooting people, which
rubber bullets or anything like. No, like even in The Dark Knight Returns, the movie or the comic graphic novel, whatever that this movie is based on, he drives a freaking tank, and that tank shoots rubber bullets.
It does. They shoot rubber bullets, and they make sure to mention that because they understand that Batman doesn't just kill people; it doesn't really work.
Even in like the darkest, most the thing that's supposed to like deconstruct the moral character of this character, he shoots rubber bullets. Like he does not break moral code.
No, he doesn't kill people.
Sure, but whatever. We're gonna get a new trailer for the Snyder Cut on the 14th as a Valentine's Day gift to all fans, I guess, or something. And apparently, the Joker is gonna at least show up in that trailer, so cool. I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still not sold on this, but
no.
All the people on the internet are, so good for them. Yep. But we'll see what happens.
So I know I've mentioned this before, but I adore it when when a news story breaks and all of these publications come out and be like, oh yes, I heard this thing too. This is absolutely confirmed. This rumor, oh yeah, that's true. And then a couple hours later, like, oh, that's not true, or it should not be nothing. Last week or earlier this week, maybe at some point, it was rumored and then confirmed that Henry Cavill was going to show up and cameo in Shazam. What is that movie called?
Black Adam.
Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Shazam 2.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like people on Twitter were freaking out, like, oh yeah, Henry Cavill's coming back. Yeah, the Snyder Cut is saving the the Snyderverse. Blah 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 blah. Like it makes so much sense that he's showing up in the Shazam 2. And then like 2 hours later, it was like, oh no, that's not true. He's not coming back. Like that was completely false.
I mean, this is a movie for 2 years in the running. I mean, they're just like, when did this like? Who were these people who were confirming these things? Like, because my thing is, if it's not either Warner Brothers themselves or like someone who's literally writing the movie, I don't really believe you because you don't really know. Because especially this movie's 2 years out minimum, assuming it doesn't get pushed back like all the other movies are these days.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. Henry Cavill hasn't really been in anything in the last couple of years that DC related. I mean, they had his neck down, I guess.
I think it was a stunt double.
I guess probably. Which I guess I don't know. I never understood that, but
I don't know.
Was it the mustache? I don't know.
I mean, they didn't have Henry Cavill available because he at that point wasn't Superman. I think
for like a week, and then I'd never understand that. I know there's like differences with like stuff. I know, but like
yeah,
you gotta get Superman though.
But like, it was just so funny seeing all these people on Twitter, freaking out, praising the fact that Henry Cavill is back as Superman, and then just never talking about it again because not like, saying, oh, it sucks, we need to get him in, just not even talking about it.
Yeah, just like, yep, that just didn't happen.
Yep.
Wasn't
Okay,
true.
so I mean, I think it would make sense for Superman to at least cameo in a Shazam movie at some point outside of the last frame of the other one, like we got. But if it's Henry Cavill, great. I actually do think that, like, under the right direction, I think that Henry Cavill could actually do a great Superman.
Yeah,
the looks down great, I think, but like, I think Zack Snyder doesn't bring the right essence out of him. But I think under a different director, I really do think that, like, we could get like what I personally feel would be at least closer to a quote unquote real Superman. So if you if Superman is to show up in Shazam 2 and they can get Henry Cavill, I'd say go for it. But if not, who cares?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I've never not liked Henry Cavill's Superman. It's just I don't think this character, Superman, was written the right way. It was never I was never like, oh, I hate this actor. Now, granted, I'm not a huge fan of Ben Affleck Batman just in general, but I know a lot of people like his look, so I'll be like, okay, fine. Sure. But like, it's like I'm not. That doesn't. I don't care who it is. I don't care how, like the way the character has been written. I don't appreciate, regardless of who's.
Yeah.
But
yeah, if he is to show up in Shazam 2, hopefully he'll be written better.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that. This is like, I mean, we'll see. I mean, this is theoretically on a movie that, granted, I didn't know even existed. I mean, that is probably on me, but I mean, this movie is a 2023 movie in a universe years away that's rebooting a movie and all this other stuff, and who knows what'll happen by then. So we'll see. But if he shows up, good for him. If not, okay. I mean, I think Shazam will be fine.
So in other nerd news, it's been confirmed that E3 will happen this year, but it will be an all digital event. So
better than nothing. I will take that.
Yes, better than nothing. It is kind of funny that 8 years ago at this point, when Nintendo first started doing digital E3 conferences, people were like, what are you doing? No one will care if it's digital. And then now, like, they were probably gonna do a digital event anyway, and now everyone has to do digital. I just find that funny. But like, yeah, like Sony essentially now, Sony would have no reason to skip it because it is all digital. So like they did last time. Like, I look forward to E3 every single year. Them not having it last year was understandable, but I still didn't like it. But so them officially confirming, E3 will look different, but it's still happening. Great.
I will take that 100% because any level of E3 is greater than no level of E3.
Exactly.
So I'm all for it. And if it is virtual, again, I mean, the experience won't be the same, but I mean, hopefully this isn't like a forever thing. It's just a this year thing until things hopefully chill out and we go back to normal. But plus, I'll take it for sure.
Plus, I felt like, especially EA and Microsoft press conferences were just too long. They always had, a trailer and then someone talking about it and then having to wait between like people walking off and on stage and like technical difficulties and just all this other stuff that like they had to contend with that made them like push an hour and a half. Like, that's not necessary. Like, other people have done digital events and get everything you just showed in like half an hour or less, no problem. So hopefully it'll be a little more concise since it is all digital.
I think it probably will be too, and also just like easier to like focus on what you kind of want to see.
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
Speaking of EA, did you know that EA was actually capable of doing something good for once?
I mean, it's happened in the past. It just hasn't happened much recently.
Yeah. Apparently EA is officially bringing back the NCAA college football series of games.
This is true. Now, here's what I will say.
Okay.
Because we have so I play a lot of football video games despite them not being that good. Yeah. Because I like football, I have to do it. So so I think NCAA 14 was the last one, which is right. Like the ultimate college football game. Like that game costs like $120 straight up. Like you can't find it anywhere. Oof. It is, but it is awesome. It's a great game. It's set up great. Now, I think we all know how this is going to go. And by we, I mean everyone who's played Madden lately. It's going to be horrible because they're going to just make it Madden, but put college teams on it.
Yes.
It's going to be terrible because the gameplay is not going to be good because the Madden gameplay is atrocious. The development, like recruiting players for college, it's not going to. I'm happy they're bringing it back because we need a college game, but I'm not happy that EA is going to be making it with EA's recent football games because they're all terrible. So this is probably just going to be a reskin of whatever Madden comes out at the time. It's not going to be good. Everyone's going to hate it. But because EA is listening to the fans now, they're going to be like, hey, man, this is what you wanted, which is technically true. We just wanted it to do it well. But
yeah, it's like when they released was it NBA Live? NBA, what is their basketball? Is it NBA Live?
Yeah, NBA Live is their basketball game.
Yeah. After, it was like 5 years since the last one back in 2014.
But no one missed it though.
It was garbage.
It is garbage. That's what I'm saying. And the reason they didn't make NBA Live is because 2K owns basketball. Yeah. Even though 2K isn't as good as it has been in past years, it's still way better than Madden.
Yeah.
I know they're different sports, but believe me, anyone who plays both games will tell you 2K is better than Madden.
So what you're saying is if EA can't even make a basketball game that's better than their trash football games, you have a problem.
No, they have a problem. EA is not going to make a good game. I am 100% convinced this is going to be trash. I will not buy. I'm not going to get it. I don't want it. I'll appreciate that they are bringing it back because they needed those games. Those have been very, very good games in the past. But if it's anything like the current Madden, it will be terrible. Straight up. And that's the truth. And anyone who plays these games will tell you that. Like, they're happy it's back, but no one's like, oh, these games are going to be fun. Because they're not. Because they're terrible.
Yeah. So one last little bit of news. Hopefully, this is actually a feel-good story. Avatar: The Last Airbender was the most popular kids show on US Netflix in 2020.
As it should be.
Yes.
I love democracy. Every cliche line I can think of. But yeah, it should be, because as we all know, and we have talked about it many times, Avatar is that show.
Yes.
Straight up. And
it is.
Yeah, it is.
Show. Like, it is the best show.
It is. And it's funny because it's one of those things that half the people that watched it already knew how great it was and just watched it again. And because of that, everyone who just likes being in front of trends just started watching it.
Yep.
And it's great because this is one of the few times, at least to my knowledge, that old fans and new fans of something didn't fight about it. Because you know how with Star Wars, you've got the OG fans and the newer Star Wars fans fight each other. Comic book fans and comic book movie fans fight each other. Everyone just kind of was like, you know what? Avatar is great.
Well, because people are too busy fighting over Legend of Korra.
Exactly. Which is fine, because if they fight about Legend of Korra, that's okay. Because
it's fine, it's good.
Yeah, it's good. If the original Avatar series did not exist, Legend of Korra would be much better. But because it is a direct sequel to something that is just that good, you just kind of, because it's not on the same level, it kind of just gets more crap.
Yes.
It had potential. I like the music honestly more than Legend of Korra. I think a lot of the battles in Legend of Korra are very good. Like the choreography, how they'll put up a wall of water and shoot out little ice spikes and like stuff, smart things to think about are really good.
Like essentially every fight that wasn't a pro bending tournament fight was fantastic.
Yes.
There was just too much pro bending.
And how the metal bending went from just opening the thing to like, I'll use this wall, then make it a shield, then wear it as armor, then try to stab you with it. Like, so crazy. But the reason the original Avatar is the best show is not just because it has amazing world bending, good action, written well. The characters are god tier.
Mm-hmm.
And in Legend of Korra, they are not.
They're not. Like,
that is the difference.
Yeah, like essentially every single thing Avatar has, Korra just doesn't quite meet. It's still better world building than most shows, better characters than a lot of other shows,
right?
Better action than most other action cartoons.
Yes, definitely action.
But when the world building of Avatar is, on the level of Avatar,
like, perfect. Like it's great. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it. I mean, it's very, very well written. It's just a very cool concept. It's an original idea based on, obviously it's based on like different Asian like cultures and stuff like that. But like the ideas flow very well. The characters, their personalities work amazingly. And in Legend of Korra, it kind of felt like they were kind of just trying to rebrand other characters and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Bolin's gonna be Sokka, but not. And like, it was kind of like, and it's not that I didn't like Bolin, but they kind of tried too hard to make him like previous characters.
Mako was a non-character.
No, Mako is by far the worst character in Legend of Korra. Like, Mako is the reason I don't like other characters in this show, because Mako is the worst character.
Like, they tried so hard to just make him this show's Zuko. Not even close.
No, they could have just used the like Iroh the second or whatever guy.
Yeah,
he seemed like I liked him a lot more. Maybe he was because he was just voiced by Dante Bosco, but still, like he was such a like he seemed cool. But like, Mako is like and I hate shows that when the least likable character, everyone likes him in the show.
Yes,
I hate that because that makes no sense. I'm like, Mako would not have friends in real life. I mean, I don't know. Like how do people like? It was weird because like Bolin would get like no. It was like Drake and Josh if Drake was a bad character.
Yes,
it was weird because like over time, Bolin was like just a funny comic relief, but actually got really cool as the show went on. And then Mako kind of just was the stagnant, lame, kind of just weird other brother.
Yeah,
but everyone for some reason like
kind of like made fun of that. Like they acknowledged that Josh was getting more buff and cooler and like more of a man, and Drake was just kind of losing his edge. Like that was a funny dynamic they had.
Yeah, they had a whole episode about it. How like I think I can get more girls than you now, and like that was a whole thing. And like, but no, it's like, and it's weird because like I guess I just wanted. It felt so unnecessary because really all we really like this would have been one of those shows that I feel like if it was made now it would have catered more towards like we like with like fan service and stuff. There would have been more flashbacks, older characters would be involved more, other things that used to they would bring back old spirits and stuff. Like what's crazy? Korra just opens the spirit portals. So like Ko the Face Stealer is just walking around somewhere. You know that, right? Like stuff like that is crazy.
I was convinced the Face Stealer would be like at least a 4-episode arc villain of season 4. Never showed up.
And that's what I'm not saying that he's like an essential character, but it's like stuff like that. You can't just like the spirits were so different in the first show than the second. Yeah. All the spirits in the again, except for like the super evil one, all the spirits in Legend of Korra seemed like just little bunnies and like still little things. And like in the first Avatar, there was a giant panda that destroyed the whole town. There was like, the painted lady ended up being real. Like there was a bunch of spirits that were like about that action.
It was not fish, like.
Yeah, like it was serious, and even in like the comics too, like spirits do not play around.
Yeah.
Like they just like, all right, this village is on my land. Guess I'm gonna kill it.
Mhm.
Like I don't know, and it just kind of it's upsetting because I think Legend of Korra had the potential to be on Avatar level, but they didn't deliver with the characters, and also some of the seasons were not nearly as strong.
Part of that was studio meddling. Part of that
Yes,
was
that's
like,
true.
you know,
That's true.
you know, them not sure if they're getting a second season, so they had to like
Yeah.
wrap up season one like they did. So they were greenlit for a second season. So then
Yeah.
they had no idea for season two, so they kind of tread water for a bit. So then season three was great, but then season three would then move to their stupid Nickelodeon website player,
Yes!
which was trash.
And I remember like every Friday for like a month, like looking on Nick.com for the new Legend of Korra and just being like, this is so not how you do. Like this show
Yes.
is getting so disrespected.
It kept
Gotta make
changing
room for
time
another
slots.
SpongeBob episode.
It kept like being paired with like other random like new premieres as well, and it didn't really fit. It just there was a lot of just mismanagement.
Yeah, because like I mean, and that's the thing with Avatar. Avatar never really like it was that one show on Nickelodeon that was very different from the others.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong, like at the time Nick was great. This was like right before SpongeBob fell off a cliff, but like
yeah, like Fairly Odd Parents was still at least decent. Like it was really going pretty good.
Like I mean, it wasn't prime SpongeBob in like 2005, but it was like this was before the great fall of like 2007.
Legend of Korra came out in 2011.
No, I'm talking about the original Avatar.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. I messed up. No. By the time Legend of Korra came out, no, SpongeBob was way too far.
Yeah.
No, that was way after. No. But anyway, yeah. But Legend of Korra, it's like, like you said, like with the like, not knowing, because I think that's why the first season kind of just like didn't end well, because it would have been so much better if she kind of just had airbending going into season 2.
Yes. Essentially season 1 it should have ended where season 3 did, where like she was at her lowest point ever, and like the next season was her like building, reconnecting with the spirits after that.
Yeah.
But because she has got her powers back and was just the best Avatar ever, she kind of inadvertently kind of came off as a Mary Sue throughout season 2.
Yeah.
So like it's not anyone's fault. That's just kind of what they had to work with, because Nickelodeon needed a new season out next year, and like they didn't have time to formulate. They had like some ideas in their back pocket they just kind of threw out there, and it ended with a big kaiju fight. Because that's Avatar.
Basically, yeah, that was a good example. But yeah, like it's dumb because, and also like the potential for like I always say this when I talk about season 2, it's like they introduced cool characters. Like I love, what is it, Varric?
Yes.
Him and Julie. I thought those were excellent characters. Those like the like eccentric and genius. Like I thought that was a really good character, and his assistant who kind of just does stuff. Julie, do the thing. Does like some crazy thing, and like, wait, what? Just like gets a bazooka or something. Like,
and like even Udalak was a decent idea if Tarlok wasn't one of the main villains of the last season and they looked the same. Like,
yeah,
like I don't know, it just kind of feels like a step down when you go from season 1, who's the villain is like someone who theoretically doesn't have powers, but like he's still able to whip up this whole movement of non-benders versus benders, and like it was like a political intrigue type thing, and then it's just the next villain is just another waterbender. Like I don't know, it just doesn't.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing, they could have built, and like it didn't have to be just a water, like they could, because it was going towards that like north and south like water tribe like Civil War kind of thing, and like that would have been like they should have just stuck with that, because that would have like
that could have easily carried a whole season, but
yeah,
I didn't see any of that.
They kind of just brushed it off for like, and like they really went into the spirits, and like I'm okay with talking about spirits, but the spirits were not interesting.
Yes.
And that was kind of the problem. They kind of just were these faceless gray blobs.
Yeah, and like
little bunnies or whatever.
It would make sense if like, starting the Water Tribe Civil War as like a vehicle to then fuse with Vaatu or whatever the evil kite spirit is. Like, sure, like a dark avatar is perfect. Like, I want that so, like,
Yes.
but he was just ended up being just like a stronger waterbender who could then at the end turn into a giant
Bang.
monster. Like, it just it wasn't interesting. Like,
no. And
season 3 is fantastic. I love.
Yes. No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it was so interesting how like they had some really good villain ideas and some really not so good ones.
Yeah.
It's like Zahir's whole thing with like their pretty much anti-team Avatar was super dope. And they brought back the combustion bending with Pylee or whatever, which again, we never really explained that. I kind of wish they did a little, but also kind of not, because I think it's just cool how it is.
No, yeah.
But it's so, because like I remember when she had that, I was like, oh shoot, and she's like, and just, it was like a silent bazooka basically.
Yeah, like
the noisy cricket from
like
Men in
season
Black.
3 and 4. Season 4 is like, I think season 3 is the best. Season 4 is still good, but not like I think as good as season 3. Season 3 proves that those writers and directors still clearly knew what they were doing. Just it was just like it just took a while for them to really get their stride again after 7 years of not doing anything with Avatar. And I guarantee, if let's say Avatar had its cult following back in 2007, it kind of got a resurgence once it came to DVD and then to Netflix. After renewed interest, they then went back and made a sequel series for Netflix. They usually don't really like limit their creators at all. Like, they apparently Netflix, outside of like canceling shows too early, which could have easily been possible. Although the Dragon Prince, which some of the people that made Avatar making that's actually doing pretty well for them. So like, which is proof that they would have been fine with this. If they then try to make a sequel show to Avatar, 10, 15 years later, it probably would have been just more season 3 and 4 stuff with some more fan service and just like honed in characters, and it would have been great.
Yes. No, I mean that's the dream. Like an Avatar like sequel series, not like a new Avatar, but like going back to the originals, but they're like adults.
Yes.
That would be amazing. I would pay so much money for that.
Yes. Unfortunately, the Avatar show we are getting is just like a remake of the cartoon that
which no one really wants, and that's what I don't understand. It's like I find it so hard to believe when like it feels like some like writers, producers, all that stuff, like really know what their fans want. I mean, even Warner Bros. I don't agree with them, but I'd be lying if I saying the Snyder Cut isn't what the fans want.
Yeah,
I mean, they've been talking about it for years. So like,
and now they're trying to call for the AR cut to be a thing, and the AR cut is not going to be a good movie. Snyder Cut has like a 10% chance to be a great movie. AR cut has like a 0.03% chance to be a good movie.
I like the 0.3, but no, it's just weird because like I feel like the Avatar kind of just use the universe we have. Because again, like I feel as much as I love the original Avatar, maybe it could have been longer if they wanted to. Like it wraps up perfectly because the conflict that started when we first got here has ended. Mm-hmm. But it could have very easily have kept going. Granted, that's where a lot of shows lose their like luster when the original plot problem is resolved. But it's interesting. But like but with Legend of Korra, it just kind of felt like we were kind of just going and we didn't really know where we were going. And I know it's different because this was a seasons to season villain, not just one overarching villain with like mini bosses, whether it be Zuko or Azula or whoever. But there were good villains. Like Zahir is a great villain. Yep. I really also liked
Kuvira. Oh yeah, she was. Yeah, Kuvira was.
I really thought she was. Granted, she kind of went off the rails at the end, and it kind of felt like Azula flashbacks.
Yeah,
but the whole like I always like the like cold calculating villain who's always smarter than you, whether it's Lex Luthor or Azula, whoever. Like it's just something about it that's just so like, gosh, that's so
I especially love the villains who like think with all of their heart that what they are doing is right. It might look evil to the main characters and it probably is the like objectively the wrong choice, but they believe they have the moral high ground.
Right. And it motivates them at the same level that the hero is motivated. So they're even like greater force going against each other.
I personally like, essentially, I personally like the Azula Ozai villains better, the ones that are just pure evil, just for like essentially Kuvira is to Thanos what Ozai is to Darkseid. Like Darkseid is just evil just for the sake of being evil. Like he doesn't
he's not doing this for any alter. He's doing this because
he doesn't want to bring world
Darkseid.
peace. He's not a utilitarian. He doesn't want to save lives. He just wants to rule the galaxy and kill as many people as possible just for fun.
The monster of monsters.
Be a monster, yes. Like Ozai doesn't want to spread order to the world. He just wants to own more land. That's it. like whereas like Kuvira is a more interesting villain. I personally like the Ozai kind of villains better as like, especially as like cartoon villains. I think they work a little better, but like Kuvira was still great. She was still a fantastic villain.
Yeah, that's true. And it does work well depending on their motivations. And it is good to mix it up, because not every villain's just I'm evil because I'm evil. And not every villain's like, no, be sympathetic for me. And it's like, you just murdered 30 people. Your sympathy has left the station.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, I really don't. Yeah, and I know studio had a lot to do with it, but like it was a lot of things I didn't like about Legend of Korra was like the like subplot. Like I know like the romance subplots were really dumb and everything because I know like they couldn't like I know a lot of people give a crap because like at the end it's like they're like she's with Asami and it's like that came out of literally nowhere.
Not literally nowhere, but like it was only really hinted at in season 4. And like, I don't know, like, I don't know.
Like because of Nickelodeon, I know they had issues with that.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give them a pass.
It was a good idea, and I do appreciate them doing that. It could have been done better.
Yes,
it could have been done better.
Yes. And that's my thing. It's like I'm not hating because like lesbian couple, no way. Like no, I don't. Yeah. Like I think that's. I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's great.
Yeah.
It actually fits Korra's personality a lot. But like I mean, like not to be stereotyping, but like kind of. But like anyway. But anyway, yeah, it makes sense. I just feel like they should have written it a lot better because it was just kind of like, by the way, let's go away together. It's like you were just like in a love triangle with this dude and her brother, and like us 2 seasons ago. But like, I don't know, and it's fine. Like I don't care. But like, yeah, I think that's just Nickelodeon kind of getting in the way of that kind of bother. And also like, it was interesting because like. It felt like the characters I wanted to be interested in weren't focused on.
Yeah.
Like I remember thinking Boomy was going to be like the most interesting character.
Kind of sucks.
He was not a good character. He was very annoying. Like he was like, oh man, this guy's this like war general but has no powers. He's going to be like a boss, like an adult Sokka would be. He is the equivalent of like a Looney Tunes cartoon lucking his way into like victory. It's like, come on, man. Like,
like it just. Like I said, I really wanted to like his character, and like I like that he got airbending, but it just didn't. It didn't work.
I don't know. I love what the airbenders did. I think the wingsuit thing was like the coolest idea.
Yes,
but I don't like the air. What do you think about just random people getting airbending? How do you feel?
It seemed a little forced. I like the idea, since air nomads were the most in tune with the spirits, it would make sense that then the spirit world would kind of reward the Air Nation with more airbenders once the whatever happened in season 2 happened. But it didn't explain it well enough.
Yeah.
Essentially what they did was they needed an excuse to have an airbending villain, and that was their vehicle to have Zahir be the villain.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Which like I thought Zahir was great when he got airbending, but I'm like he could like I don't know, like I felt like it had like I know it hadn't been enough time because there was literally one airbender on the planet, so like populating the world of airbenders, even though bending is kind of genetic, but who knows?
It depends, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just felt like it was a little like it was kind of forced, but like I think they could have made it work. But I don't know. It just it was weird because like the airbenders kind of just weren't that interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't mean to just rip into Legend of Korra. Like it's still really good.
But... Oh yeah, like I love and appreciate the fact that more and more people are getting into both these shows now that they're both on Netflix. Like I don't like pitting them together. I think they're both great in their own right, but because Korra is technically the sequel series to Avatar, kind of have no choice but to compare them.
Right.
It sucks because Korra in its own right is a great show, but Avatar is far and away superior just because it exists as Avatar, as perfectly whole, not compromised vision that just works so well.
Yeah, like Korra gets like a B plus, but it just looks bad when your sibling brings home an A plus every time.
Exactly.
It just, you're not a bad student. It just comparison.
Yeah, you're still top 10 in your class, but you're not the valedictorian.
Exactly.
Sorry.
I mean, that's just how it is, man. That's life.
Yeah. So yeah, moving on to the last topic. It's time for some Snyder snarks.
Here we go.
So I kind of brought this up earlier. I need to just dig into the nightmare sequence of Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
First, I'm just gonna, before I delve way into that, I'm just gonna bring up the fact that in BVS, I don't know what it is about Batman movies specifically, just kind of starting incorrectly. Like we already discussed, a couple weeks ago about how, The Dark Knight Rises, the way it starts is very awkward. Like it starts with a little speech about Harvey Dent, and then the airplane stuff, and then back to the Harvey Dent stuff. Like,
kind of felt really out of place.
Yeah. And then Suicide Squad just starts like 6 times. Like you didn't,
with multiple introductions of the same character.
Literally, the movie would have had a stronger opening if it just started with Amanda Waller walking into that restaurant or whatever and just talking about the squad. Like that would have been a better introduction. But no, you had to start by introducing these 2 characters and introducing them again, and just kind of being disjointed like that. BVS starts with Batman's parents dying again. It starts with the funeral and the flashback to Batman's parents dying, and then Batman like rising up out of the cave on a swarm of bats. Like, how does what? Like it came to me like a dream. Like, what do you mean by that? But whatever. Like, not only is that entire scene pointless because we've seen this before. We know Batman's parents died. We know that we know this funeral happened. We know that it made Bruce sad. Not only is that pointless, the very next scene is the scene of Batman, Bruce Wayne running into Metropolis as Superman is fighting Zod, and like, him on the ground level. The best scene in the movie. It's him running around and like essentially doing Batman stuff as Bruce Wayne, protecting people from what is happening with Superman. If that scene had started this movie, it would have been a much stronger beginning, because you have that scene and then you cut to Batman looking up at pan across the destroyed city, cut Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, go on from there. That would have been a much stronger intro to your movie. But instead, all of this to say, you have this pointless scene of Batman's parents dying that could have just been a flashback later in the movie. All that to say that this movie has many, many scenes that are super inefficient and mean nothing to the overall story, including the nightmare sequence. Finally, into the nightmare sequence. Literally, this scene in this movie adds absolutely nothing. Let me break down what exactly happens during this. I know you've seen the movie. I just need to so me and my brother actually watched this movie kind of recently because we love to hate it. So like we just like specifically when this scene happened, like we're gonna like analyze it and just see if it actually like does influence anything later in the movie. It does not. So Batman gets the data from Lex Luthor. He starts running it in his computer, and then he falls asleep or something. Like literally, he's just like staring at his computer. Cut to black, and then the nightmare sequence starts. Like it's so weird that there was no indication that this is a dream sequence. It's no indication that like this isn't actually happening. It's just cut to Batman in the desert. It was just very jarring, very like incongruous with what was actually happening at the time. And then after it was all over, he wakes up and then Flash is just like coming out of his computer
or something,
yelling at him and be like, "You were right about him. You were always right. It's Lois is the key. Am I too soon? I'm too soon. You were always right," and then left. None of that matters because the nightmare sequence isn't referenced later in the movie. Literally, the only thing the nightmare sequence did was to show us, oh, if Superman turned evil, bad stuff would happen. 2, everything that Flash said meant absolutely nothing. He says Lois is the key. That never appears later in this movie. Lois being in distress or Superman needing to save Lois or Lois being in danger never like that even though it would have made perfect sense for that to be what ended the fight between Batman and Superman. No, okay. Superman never doesn't turn evil. Batman never like thinks about that again later. Whatever. He also says, "You are always right about him." So what you're saying is Flash comes back in time to tell Batman that you were right to not trust Superman. It just reconfirms that Batman shouldn't trust him, even though he already was downloading files to create a weapon to stop Superman. so like we as the audience didn't need to hear that. Batman didn't need to hear that. He was already going to do it. This is just confirmation of stuff that we already knew. But then he then goes and just immediately trusts him as soon as the Martha scene happens, which I'm not going to get into. So like Batman sees this dream sequence that I guess Flash like gave him. Did Flash implant this memory into into Batman from the future? Is that what Flash did? What do you think happened there?
I mean,
did the Speed Force talk to him? Like, what is this?
No, not the Speed Force. I guess he just kind of like came back because it's weird because like maybe in the Flash movie they were planning on like having him come back and making it all make sense, but like.
But how did the nightmare sequence get into Batman's head? But then Flash was also there.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I don't know. Maybe it was all a dream. I have no idea because it's not really explained and it kind of doesn't really make any sense anyway.
But then Batman wakes up from that dream sequence, so like,
and it has another dream sequence. So like it's like I don't know.
Was Flash ever actually there? Was it, like I said, was it like him through the Speed Force, like talking at him through his dreams or something?
I mean, the whole nightmare sequence is honestly just like fan service, pretty much, of just weird stuff.
It's fan service for literally the only reason that scene exists is to set up Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
Which people hate Age of Ultron for unnecessarily setting up future movies.
Yep.
Yet that's half of BVS is just setting up future movies.
Yep.
And these people adore this. Okay, sure.
Because I don't know. It doesn't even make any sense.
When the studio, essentially rewrote Justice League for him, and then Joss Whedon, redirected it and everything, which I don't want to get into everything with Joss Whedon, but he's been in some hot water recently. They saw everything that Zack Snyder already did with the nightmare sequence in Justice League and was like, none of this matters. We don't need this. Cut it out of your movie. It's not necessary. And I legitimately believe that even though we are actually going to get the nightmare sequence in the Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's not going to matter. It's not going to add anything to the plot. It's going to be an Elseworld event that just kind of is there to have some cool action to show like, oh, this is what happened if Superman did turn evil, which will be a payoff to a scene that you've already explored that with. You're just going to explore that further, but it's not going to matter because it's going to be a different timeline. Right?
Yeah. No idea.
Also, like, it's just that whole scene in BVS is just very poorly shot. It's just like everything about that scene just kind of looks off. Batman's suit just kind of looks off. The weird like gray, green, brown filter is like turned up to 11. people just randomly start shooting. Like, why does Superman have goons? Why does he have these loyalists? Like, what is?
I don't know. I guess it's like in his dream. It's like, oh, Superman's gonna turn the world under his thumb, so they like work for Superman. He's like the god of the world, I guess.
In this world, Darkseid has taken over the world and has Superman as his proxy. So why are they not Darkseid loyalists? Or well, not, controlled by Darkseid, probably by the, anti-life equation or whatever. Like,
I mean, personally, I have no idea.
And then, like, as Batman is fighting these goons, literally, there's one guy he beats the crap out of. Two guys can't tackle him, and then instead of brushing those guys off, Batman reaches down and snaps the guy who's already on the ground's neck. Why? He's already down.
Because for some reason, people want to see Batman snapping necks.
Why?
Even though Batman doesn't really do that.
No, he doesn't. Not only it is. In theory, it is an interesting sequence. My only major issue with it is that it adds nothing to the movie you're watching. It has no story purpose. It has no thematic purpose. It adds nothing to the characters involved. It's not foreshadowing at all in the movie you're watching, because like I said, Lois being the key doesn't matter. Why did he say, am I too soon? I'm too soon. If he says, so Flash says, you are right about him, you are always right. If theoretically, if you say you're always right, then there's no way to be too soon. You could have shown up 12 years ago and you wouldn't have been too soon. Right?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because I don't know. A lot of it doesn't add up in general, just because it's kind of I guess, setting up for things that may or may not have happened or ended up happening at all. So you can't really set up something that didn't happen.
Yeah. But I don't know. That scene in particular is something that Zack Snyder fanboys latched onto and is I want to see more of this. This is the best scene in this movie.
Yes. But it's what? I mean, it's cool, I guess, if you're into. I mean, I don't like it because of Batman just murking a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But I guess it's action wise, it's kind of cool. But it's yes. It's it's kind of doing stuff just to do stuff that doesn't actually matter. Kind of we were talking about with Star Wars. It's yes, what you're doing, it makes sense, but it doesn't really do anything because it's out of context in a dream sequence or not even that cool anyway.
The same person who wrote the scenes you're talking about wrote this scene.
I know.
Hysteria. So yeah,
I know.
Checks out. Having a bunch of
I don't like the name
literally mean nothing and add nothing. No characters are developed, and then at the end of the movie, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I don't know. A part of me does want the Snyder Cut to actually be good. A, for people to shut up about it, and B, just to actually have something with these characters actually be good. But when scenes since I know that scenes like this are going to be expanded on, I don't trust it. I don't know.
Because again, that wasn't those weren't what I perceived as the problem in the first place. So it's yeah, that's the.
I don't know. If something with Lois being the key actually mattered in Batman v Superman, I think I'd be more lenient on that scene as a whole. But because the nightmare sequence and then the Flash nonsense happens back to back and it's never brought up again, A, I can't take your movie seriously, and B, I'm just confused. Why is this happening? I don't know. Also, why does the Flash look like that? Why is he coming out of this weird portal out of the TV? Why isn't he just why isn't he just standing there? Why is it in a dream sequence kind of? I don't know.
I don't know. It's confusing. It is very. I don't know. It's one of those things that people want to like it because they think it's setting up something, and it very much might be setting up a lot. And like, granted, it did set up kind of that scene in Justice League, kind of with like, oh, snap Abby. Even though I feel like you didn't need that to think of that idea. That was kind of that felt like that would have been like the obvious choice. Yeah. I feel like that always happens anyway. Even in that like Batman Hush movie when Superman was
falling off a roof is what's happening.
Yeah, like it's like that's kind of like if I was a guy who was like, all right, Superman's mind controlled. How do I snap him out of it? Well, if Lois doesn't work, probably nothing will. So, exactly. Which we found out in Injustice. But like yeah. But like you still try it, like. But yeah, I mean that's fine, I guess. Yeah, but like the nightmares. This is what I mean. Like everyone wants these like random scenes of just mindless stuff happening just to happen.
Exactly. The nightmare sequence in Justice League is probably going to be a cool 20 to 30-minute action scene that's going to mean nothing for the greater plot of the movie.
Yes.
I don't. And maybe that's what some people want, but I just feel like more. I expect more out of a Justice League movie than just mindless action. I expect characters to be developed. I expect a team dynamic. I don't know, like I expect, plots and characters that actually matter. Not this weird extra timeline. I don't know. Any final thoughts?
I mean, it's just kind of we will see.
Yeah, coming out a month from now, a month from the 18th. Yeah, a month from next Thursday, I think. So
okay, we got a month and a week. So I mean, we'll see. And when it comes out, we'll talk about it. I'm sure. Yep. We'll have a whole podcast and everything. I'm sure. But like,
hopefully our review won't be as long as the movie itself. But we'll see.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to take notes. I want to go through this one. Because again, I want to make sure everything that I like about it is mentioned.
Yes.
Because there is going to be something I like about it. I'm not going to watch a movie about DC heroes and be like, everything sucks.
There are some kind of decent things I actually do legitimately kind of like about BVS. Aren't a lot. They're few and far between, but they are there.
So I like that scene where Superman kind of just comes out of the sky and just decks Doomsday into like that blowing up building. That was cool to see.
Shots and decent like a couple of seconds sequence.
Right. It's like, but it's never anything like, it's always like it's kind of like Legend of Korra. It's like, not in the same way, but like you like what's happening, but not all the time why it's happening. Like things look cool and like, oh, that'd be great, but I'd enjoy this way more if it had the proper context kind of thing.
Yeah. So, like I said, hopefully the Snyder Cut, hopefully it is the movie that fans want it to be. That is the best I can say. Hopefully it is the movie that fans want it to be. And then hopefully after it comes out, people will shut up about it.
But they won't. They will say, this is the greatest DC movie, bar none, that has ever been made.
Every movie
Zack Snyder is the same on level as like Dave Filoni and all them are with Star Wars. Anything DC needs to be made by Zack Snyder. Like these are the things that are going to be said. These things are already being said, but these things are going to be amplified.
They're already pioneering release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. You haven't even gotten your Snyder cut yet. Just chill out for 5 seconds.
It never ends. It never ends. You give them an inch, people will take them out. It never ends. We're going to be here for a while.
And then they'll campaign for Man of Steel 2 and Zack Snyder directed Batman and like
I don't know how or what. I feel like, I wonder who started this. I wonder if it's like Zack Snyder started this, like, because groupthink is a real thing. Like if enough people think something, people will totally agree. Yep. So maybe this like started it and they're like, all right, here's what we're going to do. And it's on this track. And then everyone else is like, yeah. Now he's got all these like Snyder disciples or whatever.
The Snideples. The Snideples.
We'll see. We'll see. That one might be the one. I don't know. I just, but it is what it is, man. I mean, they have the right to like it, whether I like it or not. It is the movie coming out, regardless.
Yeah.
And, that's okay.
And for better or worse, they got me. I will watch it.
I will watch it.
I have to watch over 2, maybe even 3 nights, depending on how boring it is.
If it's 4 hours, it's at least going to be 2 nights. I'm not
Yeah.
sitting through a 4-hour movie. Period. I don't care if it's the best one. Like even Lord of the Rings, those are great. And I can't one shot Lord of the Rings.
But just like with BVS, like those 2 sequences I already discussed, I guarantee half of that movie is going to be pointless dribble just to have.
No, I mean everything they're adding to the movie more or less is probably going to be pointless fan service scenes that you didn't need.
Yes.
Like the fact that people like shed tears, like Superman's wearing a black suit. It's like, I mean, yeah, that's cool, but like that's not. The movie wasn't like, you know, it's like the movie wasn't like bad because Superman wasn't wearing the black suit. Like that was not the problem with the movie by any means. But you know, but now that he's wearing one, the movie just got 10 times better. And I think not.
No.
Or you know, all these new characters that need to be done wrong. That's gonna change it. It's like, no, he's just gonna do the. If he can't get Batman and Superman right, I doubt he's gonna get Darkseid right. Either.
Or Martian Manhunter or Green Lantern or whatever.
Whoever else they add who doesn't need to be in this movie.
Yep.
But here we go.
Fine. Yep. Like I said, new trailer coming out on Sunday. Maybe it'll blow us away.
Well, I'll put it this way. I in no way am rooting for DC movies to suck. But if they do start sucking,
I mean
it could lead to other things. Because like think about it. If these start not doing well and then like the Batman or something does well or something, it could be like maybe we need a new era in DC movie. I don't know. I mean again,
I think the Suicide Squad is gonna do fantastic. It's looking really good. The cast is great. You know, James Gunn. You know, I don't think he's made a bad movie. He's made some questionable choices in life, but like, I don't think he's made a bad movie per se. And like, the Batman is looking that should be pretty good. Aquaman 2 is coming out either next year or the year after. Black Adam is probably gonna be great, like in its own little pocket dimension. Like, it looks like they are making some good stuff. Just hopefully, if Patty Jenkins does get another movie, whatever issues they have with 84, they work out and actually make a good Wonder Woman 3.
Yeah, that was rough. I'm not gonna lie. I like Patty Jenkins, but that one was not one of her shining moments.
Yeah. So I think they're on a good track. I just don't want the Snyderverse to derail what, you know, could potentially be a good thing going. You know. But we'll see. Maybe they can coexist. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to bring up or discuss before we sign off today?
That's all I've got for here.
Okay. And with that, we'll see you all next time.
Take care, everybody.